Thank you all so much.
Mr. Speaker, when will you swear in Ms. Grijalva?
And that was Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson walking out of the room rather than address questions about a swearing in that would trigger votes on the Trump-Epstein files. Hello everybody, David Shuster here. The criticism of Speaker Johnson is intensifying. Headline, shame on him. Mike Johnson buried in mockery for fleeing questions about swearing in Dem. It's now been more than 2 weeks since Democrat Adelita Grijalva won a special congressional election in Arizona, but Grijalva keeps hearing nothing from the speaker or his office about her swearing in.
So the speaker's office has had absolutely no communication with me directly at all. So everything is going through Leader Jeffries or Whip Clark, and every person in the Democratic caucus has been so incredibly supportive.
Grijalva has pledged to provide the 218 signature needed on a discharge petition that would force a vote on releasing the Epstein files. But until Grijalva is actually sworn in, the petition by Republican Thomas Massie remains one signature short, and Speaker Johnson's delay tactics are getting blasted. Democrat Jason Crow of Colorado, your daily reminder that Republicans are doing everything in their power to cover up the Epstein files. Nick Frasone of the Democratic Central Committee, Rep-elect Grijalva should contemplate filing a lawsuit, or one of her constituents should, considering they're being denied representation when they've elected someone. Tiffany Muller, president of End Citizens United, Mike Johnson is straight up denying the voters of Arizona 07 the representation they deserve. Why? To keep the Epstein files hidden and shield creepy elites from accountability. Shame on him. The discharge petition that would force a vote on the Epstein files has been signed by 213 House Democrats and 4 House Republicans. Thomas Massie is sponsor, as well as Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez believes that Speaker Johnson is desperately trying to buy off one of them.
And I think Mike Johnson is trying to get either Lauren Boebert or some of these other Republicans to get their name off of the discharge petition before Adelita Grijalva, who is that 218th member, comes to Congress, because she was supposed to be sworn in. It is actually insane. She won her special election. Once you win your election, you're supposed to get sworn in. He is refusing to swear her in. And they're using the excuse of the fact that the House isn't in session to not swear her in. However, Mike Johnson swore in Republicans when the House wasn't in session.
Last April, for example, when the House was not in session, Johnson swore in 2 Republicans who had won special elections so that they would be available immediately for House votes on the Trump tax and spending bill. Here's House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries.
So when it comes to enacting massive tax breaks for Republican billionaire donors, they race to swear people in, which is what they did in April with those 2 extreme MAGA Republicans in Florida. But when it comes to Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, who will represent a majority Latino district in Arizona, who's a Democrat, who has made clear that she will be the 218th signature on the petition to force a vote on the release of the Epstein files. House Republicans can't be bothered.
The pressure appears to be getting to Speaker Johnson. On this day, several hours after walking out of his own news conference rather than answer a question about Grijalva's swearing in, Johnson appeared with Senate Republican leaders. And in front of them, and perhaps not wanting to seem weak, Johnson took the question and responded.
This year, you swore in 2 Republican members during a pro forma session. So why not swear in Adelita Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during a pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty.
When everybody gets back, and the reporter said, what about during the pro forma session, which the House has right now.
Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it. We're in pro forma session because there is nothing for the House to do. The House has done its job. People say, why don't you do more? Let's do more. Now you should do something. We already did something. It was passing a clean CR.
But now Johnson is committing to doing that thing that would swear in Democratic Rep. Adelita Grijalva. Then the Epstein vote clock will start ticking. Under House rules, once a discharge petition has 218 signatures, the House must have a floor vote within 7 legislative days. There may be no legislative days until the government shutdown is over. However, Speaker Johnson now seems willing to acknowledge the obvious. Democrats and a few Republicans have the signatures needed to force a vote on the Epstein files.
But on the Epstein files, I've unapologetically stood with women and victims of rape, especially these women. They said they were raped at 14 years old by Jeffrey Epstein. And they've talked about a lot of other people being responsible for this. And, you know, I've stood with these women and said, look, all the files need to come out. And I received unbelievable blowback and pressure from the White House, pushing me to get off Thomas Massey's discharge petition, which I absolutely refuse to do. I'm not coming off that discharge petition, and I'm not going to stop supporting women who were raped. I'm going to stand with these women. I'm not a, let's see, what's the right way to say it? I'm not a slave, and I am independent-minded. I work for my district. That's who elected me. I got elected on my own without the Trump endorsement back in 2020, and at times I disagree with the Trump administration. And guess what, Eric? I'm allowed to do that.
And once the House floor is active again, the Trump-Epstein scandal and the political pressure on Republicans is only going to intensify. By the way, Donald Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi just testified in front of a Senate committee, and she refused to deny the reports that lewd photos of Trump are in the Epstein files.
There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right.
I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls, are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants. And the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing.
Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that. Okay?
Again, Bondi did not say she doesn't know anything. She refused to say anything. And that's probably because Bondi was under oath. And if she gets caught lying to Congress, say when the Epstein files do come out, Bondi could face legal exposure under the next Justice Department. Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Raymond, who wrote, "Trump is so frickin' guilty. Prosecute now." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about House Speaker Mike Johnson getting slammed for his delays in swearing in a Democrat whose signature will trigger a vote on the Trump-Epstein files. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.